Well, folks, it's about that time of year again. My favorite month of the year, Halloween. So it only feels natural to talk about the original slasher classic directed by John Carpenter, Halloween. And there's also going to be a new one in the franchise, which I'm very, very excited and optimistic about. So I'm going to attempt to talk about all of them before the new one comes out. Lord, help me. So, how do you talk about a classic like this? How do you touch on something that nobody else has touched on before? Because there are thousands of YouTubers that have talked about Halloween the movie, and they're all right in their own way. They're all correct. Everything they've said is absolutely accurate. It's a classic. The tone and the pacing and the directing is masterful. The acting is so-so in points, with the exception of Donald Pleasance, who is electric in this movie. And there's a reason it's a classic. It is like, yeah, of course Psycho gave birth to the slasher genre, but really it was Halloween that sort of pushed this entire genre and made it a popular thing, where we had all sorts of copycats, especially in the 80s. You know, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Prom Night, and then, I mean, it was a defining moment in Jamie Lee Curtis's career as well. And it wasn't a great hit at first. It was one of those things where it was like word of mouth, and then it became a classic. It's a Halloween classic, and it's a Halloween tradition. However, there is another version of the film that I haven't seen any other people really review or talk about, and it's included in the big box set, which I'm a proud owner of, and it's the TV cut. Now, I've actually never watched the TV cut until a couple nights ago, and it adds a good 10 minutes to the movie. Now, that can completely change things. 10 minutes is a good chunk. It's one thing for like Taken, the director's cut, that adds 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes. But 10 minutes it's a good solid chunk of film. So what does it add? Does it make the film better? Is it about the same? Does it slow it down at all? I actually really liked what the TV version had to add, and it's set up in HD, but it's not quite the same quality as Blu-ray quality, but it's like the transition is so smooth that you don't really notice unless you're like looking for it and you're aware that it's not in complete HD. It's not like The Exorcist 3 collector's edition cut, where it's like it goes from Blu-ray quality to VHS. It's the quality is just ever so slight, but really, it adds some context to Dr. Loomis's character, which I'm all for. In fact, really, most of the new stuff is within the first 20 to 30 minutes of the movie, and then the rest of it is pretty much unchanged. So there's a scene where Loomis is sort of begging the board of directors or these other doctors to not let Michael go and to not keep him in the hospital. That he wants him like in the highest security possible, and he's like begging back and forth. You know, he's evil. You can't let this kid go. And at this point in the movie, it's Michael's still a child, so it's like this is a child he's talking about, and yet he's talking about him like he's the next Charles Manson. And I thought that scene was great, because I mean, more Loomis is what I love. And then directly after that scene, there's a scene where he goes to visit Michael in his room, and Michael as a kid is just staring out the window, and that gives this child actor another scene in the movie. Originally it's just him with the mask off, but it gives this whole meaning, and he doesn't have any lines. It doesn't ruin that aspect of the film at all. It's just Loomis talking to him, and him just blankly staring out the window, knowing that whatever it is that drives him to kill has completely taken over, even at this young age. And really, it kind of gave me goosebumps. It was I think those two scenes made the movie even better because Loomis, in my opinion, has always been the best part of this series. And I know everybody really loves Laurie Strode and Jamie Lee Curtis, and I do too, but really Donald Pleasance just sells the role. He doesn't take it half-ass, he doesn't sleep through it in this one or any of the sequels. And he's really good in these scenes. And then we get, once Michael escapes, we get more scenes inside the hospital of him looking inside Michael's room where there are certain things written on the walls and on the door, and his room is just all torn up, and it's just, it's compelling and cool stuff. But really, as far as worthwhile footage, that's the last of it. There's an extra scene with Jamie Lee Curtis, and then that's sort of it. And it sort of plays up the creep factor a little bit, but it goes on a little bit too long because it's more of her looking out the window after she sees Michael staring up at her behind the clotheslines, and it's more stuff like that. But then her friend comes in, and it's just the two of them talking about, you know, creepy guy outside, and then automatically just going to talking about boys. So, is Halloween the TV cut better than the original? I mean, how do you even touch the original? To me, I might like it better. I don't know. I mean, it's just, it adds more stuff with Loomis, and it doesn't drag the film down at all except for that one scene. So I think if you got rid of that part with Laurie and her friend and just kept all the new Loomis stuff, it would make it a perfect film even better. But really, it's been influential on so many people, myself included. My new book, The Legacy, the one that I'm working on right now, is heavily influenced by Halloween and sort of the relationship between Michael Myers and Dr. Loomis. There was definitely some inspiration there, and I have that relationship with most of John Carpenter's work where it has influenced me so much. And, you know, people always ask me, who's the author that influenced you the most? But really, John, who I consider to be a writer, even though he's primarily a director, is the writer that has influenced me the most. As always, thanks for watching. Comment below, let me know what you think of the new Halloween, if you think it's going to be great, if you think it's going to be awful, if you think it's going to be meh. Comment below, let me know. Let me know what your favorite Halloween movie is. Not necessarily in the Michael Myers franchise, but just scary movies altogether that you like to watch around this wonderful time of year. As always, if you like what you see here, hit that like button, subscribe, don't forget to ring that bell, and check out my channel for more movie and book stuff. Bye.